We have to talk about this.
I just finished testifying in front of the House Oversight Committee. I did it for two reasons. First, I love my country, including our Constitution. And America was built on the idea that no person is above the law, even presidents, especially presidents.
Yeah. Is that what you told Monica Lewinsky? Bill Clinton is a slimy, slippery greaseball. And buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to dissect the Epstein testimony of loves a bathtub Bill Clinton, and Hillary has to keep making excuses for her husband's misdemeanors Clinton. Because the moment of reckoning has finally come. Bill and Hillary gave evidence before the House Oversight Committee investigating paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. And I've got to say, Hillary's testimony was a disaster. Now, the hearing took place behind closed doors, but we will soon have access to the video footage of what happened inside. Can't wait. And when Hillary emerged, she was determined to give her version of events.
I have just finished testifying. I answered every one of their questions as fully as I could, based on what I knew, and what I knew is what I said in my statement this morning. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance.
Yeah, okay. Now, maybe she never met Epstein, but Epstein sure remembered her. He'd sent an email saying the former Secretary of State, quote, looks better in person. And as for Ghislaine Maxwell, she went to Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2007. And when asked about that, Hillary just bolted like lightning.
James Matthews from Sky News. Can I ask, why was Ghislaine Maxwell invited to her daughter Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010? She'd already been mentioned in a civil lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre before that. Jeffrey Epstein had already been convicted before that.
She came as the plus one, the guest of someone who was invited.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
Well, and off she goes. Off she went. Didn't want to answer anymore. Why? Because Hillary had a shocker of a day. A photo from inside was leaked of her as she was giving evidence, and so her team actually stopped the testimony and walked out midway through. I mean, let's be honest, Hillary had no interest in being there. She didn't want to give testimony and she was angry. So much so, she got into a screaming match and lost it at Representative Nancy Mace.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything. She didn't want to answer any questions about any of that and deferred most of those, if not all of those questions, to her husband. And he asked her very pointed questions, and you'll see that in the transcript in the video that comes out, and you'll see how she responded as well, screaming. He was unhinged, and I hope that President Clinton is less unhinged today than his wife was yesterday. You'll see it.
Oh, I cannot wait. Cannot wait until those tapes are released to see a screaming Hillary Clinton. But it seems as though Hillary is suffering from some sort of temporary amnesia, or perhaps it's PTSD from her husband's past indiscretions. Hello, Monica Lewinsky. Because the House committee struggled to get a straight answer from her altogether.
The number of times that she said, "I don't know, you'll have to ask my husband," was more than a dozen, and I'll put it like that.
Look, the problem, this is the issue, right, with Hillary. This is the problem. She is the ultimate pick-me girl. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And now she's stuck with deadbeat Bill. She's settled, clearly. Now, if Hillary was my friend, I would have told her to leave his sorry behind years ago. Because imagine fobbing off the fact that your husband was pictured in a hot tub.
And it wasn't a hot tub on a plane. It was one of the stops they made to look at philanthropic and charitable work that my husband has done, saving literally millions of lives around the world. It turned out that was done long before there was any public awareness and certainly any conviction of any crime by Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. Yeah. So, look, nothing to see here. He was saving lives just in his swimmers next to a woman. with a convicted pedophile. Yeah, poor Hillary. It must be mentally exhausting after all these years having to come up with all sorts of excuses for the old ball and chain. But she still maintains she's absolutely not worried about the hot tub and massages.
And I think the chronology of the connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light. And
dear, oh dear. And by massages, by the way, I mean this. Here is an Epstein victim relieving some of Bill's tension. Then, of course, there's Bill in the hot tub. Bill pictured multiple times with Epstein himself. And, of course, with a woman sitting on his lap. Yet he started off his testimony saying, even with 2020 hindsight, I saw nothing that ever gave me pause. The former president tried to offer up an explanation.
So here's what I told the committee. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos they show of me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter far more than any interpretation of 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. And I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do.
Well, Bill Clinton has always maintained that he did nothing wrong, and of course, neither of the Clintons have been accused of wrongdoing. But here's the thing. Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times while he was president. Clinton flew on the Lolita Express, that's Epstein's plane, 27 times. And as we've seen, he was pictured multiple times out socially with the pedophile, and this went on for years. There was also email correspondence between Clinton staff, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And so when all else failed, Clinton then went on to play the victim card.
I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. As someone who grew up in a home with domestic violence, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes.
Please spare me the domestic violence story. The Clintons had to be dragged kicking and screaming to give evidence. They fought multiple subpoenas. They did not want to testify. And they only agreed after being threatened with jail time. And now Bill Clinton's offering up some sort of sympathy for the victims. I mean, the guy is unhinged, like his crazy wife. Oh, and by the way, during his deposition, Clinton was pressed on the infamous hot tub image with that unidentified woman, and Clinton denied knowing her and reportedly swore under oath that he did not have sexual relations with her. Well, geez, doesn't that sound familiar?
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
And let's not forget his deposition in the Lewinsky saga. He was impeached back in 1998 for perjury and obstruction of justice regarding his affair with her, a sitting president. The guy is sickening. Oh, but he too threw in this for his old ball and chain.
I also have to say something personal. Republicans made Hillary testify yesterday, and she had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, nothing. She has no memory of ever even meeting him. She neither traveled with him nor visited any of his properties. So whether 10 people or 10,000 people were subpoenaed, including her, was simply not right.
He doesn't get it, does he? He doesn't get it. It's like, see you at home, honey. I love you, Hillary. Love you, babe. Proceeds to get into a hot tub with a woman. Go figure. And what is most deranged out of all of this is that even after the testimonies of Dumb and Dumber, the liberal media are still obsessed with trying to hang it all on Donald Trump.
Can I just say this? The Epstein victims have exonerated President Trump. This is a trope that you guys are, a rabbit hole you guys are going down, but he's been exonerated over and over again by Epstein victims.
Exactly. And again, the Democrats didn't do it. He's done it. I mean, if the Democrats really had a smoking gun, they would have released the Epstein files years ago. Don't forget, Joe Biden tried desperately to get Trump jailed and he failed miserably. Now, if there was something in the Epstein files that incriminated Trump, don't you think that they would have released it in the lead up to the election campaign? Of course they would have. Well, shock horror Dems and liberal media, you've got nothing.
I don't know anything about the Epstein files, I've been fully exonerated. Yeah.